sixth budget. As she'd promised, she wanted to keep the spectacular announcements for later. Very workmanlike budget where she's actually given out the belief that she thinks the government will be back in July, which is why there's no need for any spectacular announcement now. Phir aayenge, phir batayenge. Let me get initial reactions. I'll start with Dr. Subhash Garg.
Item number 3.
Solar housing on rooftops, and the fact that she's looking to expand some popular schemes, but not really going all out with populism. What are you making of this budget?
Very true. I think this is coming out very, very clearly. There were very large expectations that the capital expenditure will be increased massively. It has not been.
She's increased it 11%.
It's only 11%, which accounts for inflation and things like that. It's not spectacular at all. On the Modi guarantees or the populist kind of scheme, again, there are two announcements largely which are of substantial nature. One is that housing to 2 crore rural houses.
These are new houses that
these are new houses. Okay. And then 1 crore solar rooftop systems for...
These are subsidies from the government or grants from the government?
It would be, I think, subsidy. There is an existing scheme which provides for a smaller subsidy. My sense is that this will be either fully subsidized or substantially...
So it's less than an hour. It's one of the shortest speeches we've heard in a long time.
Right. But
in a sense, she has kept up to what used to be the original manner in which vote on accounts would take place. They would be short and they would be very basic,
like
prosaic.
2014 also.
Yeah, but 2019 was distinctive.
Exactly.
And that shows how the political climate has changed between 2019 and 24. I repeat, 2019 was on the backdrop of the Congress winning in those 3 states of the Hindi heartland, appearing resurgent and ascendant. The BJP needed to do something to change the narrative. Now, on the back of the Ram consecration ceremony, the victories in the Hindi heartland, you get a sense that the BJP is far more confident of winning 2024 than 2019. Absolutely. That's the
Rajiv
message
Kumar,
one gets.
your big takeaways from this very short budget speech.
My big takeaway is that the 4 pillars that she announced, which is the Garib, Yuva, Annadata and Nari, the Gyan, I think you will see much more action on them in the July 24 budget. And I think she's laid the foundation, she's laid the groundwork for that. Also, the other big one is the extension of the Ayushman Bharat to all the Anganwadis and the
Asha workers.
And the third that I thought was a big one was the the self-help groups, the 83 lakh women, workers in the self-help groups, creating 1 crore Lakhpati, women Lakhpatis, and the target being raised to 3 crore Lakhpatis. I think that's the one where I think more will be announced as we come along as to how these crore-patis will be created. Lakhpatis would be created. I think those are my major takeaways. And finally, it is that, as I've been saying, this budget, and you said, reflects the government's confidence that they will be back there in 24 and do not want to queer the pitch for the next finance minister to try and get the sums right, etc. Very well laid out path, and great intentions, move towards Viksit Bharat, from here on.
I think it just shows how 5 years is a very long time in India. From 2019 to 24, you have a far more self-confident government. I think in 2019, Rahul, there was a sense, even though eventually the government got that big victory, there was a sense in January, particularly of 2019, that the election could be very competitive. I think there's a sense on February 1st, 2024, that the opposition is in complete disarray. And I think typical of a clever government, and the one thing about Mr. Modi is that he's politically very sharp. He recognizes this is not a moment for disruption. I always thought
it's stunning confidence, Rajdeep. What they haven't done is far more important than what's been done.
That's right. Because
a few weeks before the election, to have this kind of confidence that we don't need to do anything dramatic, there doesn't need to be populism, we don't need to roll out the populist red carpet, we'll still come back in July.
That's right. I think it shows, as I said, how much Indian politics has changed in the last 5 years.
Manish Tiwari of the Congress is speaking at this moment. First, opposition reactions. Let's listen.
Over the first quarter of the next financial year, what is extremely worrying is the increasing fiscal deficit, because the numbers which have been presented by the finance minister clearly demonstrate that over 18 lakh crores is the unfunded extent of the union budget for this year. And this number is only going to increase. See, ultimately, this is a vote on account to keep the government solvent over the first quarter of the next financial year. What is extremely worrying is the increasing fiscal deficit, because the numbers which have been presented by the finance minister clearly demonstrate that over 18 lakh crores is the unfunded extent of the union budget for this year. And this number is only going to increase. See, ultimately, this is a vote on account to keep the government solvent over the first quarter of the next financial year.